Hello, dear. We had to put a little bit of a pause in there so that we could cut.
Aren't you going to ask me what my favorite Batman movie is?
No.
No?
Because we know better. And that's getting cut in as a bumper. Congratulations.
It's The Dark Knight.
No.
Batman Begins?
No.
Tim Burton's Batman.
No.
The Penguin Rises.
Batman and Robin.
Penguin Rises.
It's the best Batman movie ever.
No, it's just shiny. That's why you like it.
That Batgirl outfit was pretty nice.
Yeah. It's the only one that didn't have nipples on it, though, and that was a shame.
Hi, I'm Mike. Welcome back to Saturdays at Derek's.
I'm Derek, and I would also like to welcome you back to Saturdays at my place.
Yes, but not before I welcome them. I win.
Haha.
So, this week we couldn't come up with anything we really wanted to talk about, so we plucked out a list of the 10 most successful directors.
Highest grossing.
Okay.
And we checked in. We found a couple of different lists. The one that we decided to go with was the one on moviemojo.com. There was also one on, we went with Wikipedia. There was one on moviemojo.com. They were slightly different, but the one on Wikipedia tended to be the same as the other sub-lists that we had found. And there was two directors on the Wikipedia or the Movie Mojo that were not on Wikipedia, and those two were George Lucas, who basically directed the Star Wars films, which were his big movies.
Yeah.
You know, he had a couple of smaller ones like Red Tails. And then Ron Howard, who's directed just a butt ton of films.
Right. Oh, and don't forget the one American Graffiti.
Oh, yeah, American Graffiti and THX 1138. And then the Star Wars films.
Yeah.
But then Ron Howard had, like, Cocoon, Batteries Not Included.
Apollo 13.
Yeah, just a ton of good movies. Willow.
Yeah.
It's... So they were not on the other lists.
They're not. They weren't on the other list of top grossing, but if it was, an opinion list of most talented directors, there are a couple of schlubs on this list who would get dropped in favor
in a heartbeat, in favor of either of them.
Yeah.
Even with all of George Lucas's shortcomings.
Episodes 1 through 3.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely a better storyteller than he is a director, but or a story creator than a director.
Yeah,
but but we'll start with the 10th highest grossing, which was Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm. I'm a fan for the most part. I think sometimes he gets a little
Tim Burton-y.
Yeah, he's kind of pretentious about his style. But there's a big list of really good movies he'd done. Beetlejuice. I like Dark Shadows, even though a lot of people hated it. The new Alice in Wonderland, same difference. Sweeney Todd was really good. Corpse Bride. Sleepy Hollow. Mars Attacks was hilarious. Ed Wood, depending on if you can really get into the tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, the nature of the film.
Yeah. The Batman movies, Edward Scissorhands.
The only, almost Ed Wood, the only Tim Burton film that I did not enjoy was Planet of the Apes, the remake.
Yeah. But he's definitely got like this look to a lot of stuff he did. You can definitely tell it's a Tim Burton film when you're watching. I was going into Walmart. I think I was with Hope, and there was a little kid wearing like a black shirt, black shorts, but like red and white socks up to his knees, and he looked like an extra from a Tim Burton movie. And I said so, and his mother started laughing her ass off. Yeah. Like I said, for the most part, I like Tim Burton. Yeah. I'm not always thrilled, but I very rarely ever hate his films. The only film that I can think of that I really did not like was Planet of the Apes film.
even and looking down the list here, yeah, that's kind of the only one that I really have a problem with.
Right. And the sneak up one that doesn't get mentioned a lot, Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh yeah, a brilliant film. And one of the ones that you don't really recognize, is one of the least recognizable Tim Burton films.
Yeah,
but
I think it's because it was his early in his Hollywood career, and
Yeah.
he was just getting established as a filmmaker. And once they figured out that he was a moneymaker, they kind of gave him free reign artistically to do the stuff he wanted to.
Yeah. Number 9 was Gore Verbinski, who did some romantic comedies, some horror films, very diverse filmography.
Yeah, he got kind of into a stylistic rut at some point because he did the Pirates of the Caribbean movies and the Lone Ranger, which are all basically the same
film.
thing.
Yeah. And I think that's where he made most of his money, was in those films.
Right, the big budget adventure.
But
Disney
he also
flicks.
did The Mexican and The Ring.
Yeah. I didn't like The Ring, but and a lot of people didn't like The Mexican. I kind of got the sense of humor to it, though.
Yeah, I thought The Mexican was boring because I can't stand Julia Roberts.
Yeah.
But and Mouse Hunt. The kids' film Mouse Hunt, which wasn't a great film, but it was cute.
And I liked Rango.
Oh, that's the one with Johnny Depp as the lizard, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
That was pretty good.
That was a cool little animation.
Yeah. Yeah, I like
that. Number 8 is Chris Columbus, not Christopher Columbus. Not the so-called founder of this country.
Right, but Adventures in Babysitting, Home Alone, Mrs. Doubtfire,
the Harry Potter.
Harry Potter movies,
2.
Rent.
Try to strike lightning twice with the Percy Jackson films.
Yeah, which I had no time for.
Yeah,
to be honest,
it's basically another attempt at making a Harry Potter franchise.
Yeah, and it didn't fly.
And well, it did. I mean, they still made 2 more, and I think they're still making a 4th one. So
yeah. On the other hand, Stepmom, I saw one time, and I thought it was an episode of The Twilight Zone. The fucking movie never ends.
Yeah.
I was getting really mad by the end of it because I was stuck at somebody else's place. It was like a friend of my girlfriend at the time, and we got stuck there watching that movie. And I wanted to Elvis their TV.
Yeah,
I did. If there was a handgun in the house, that thing would have been toast. It was like this temporal loop nightmare movie that just never stopped. It just went on and on and on, and it was boring and inane, and I just didn't care. By the end of it, the characters I was supposed to be sympathetic for, I just wanted them to all get cancer and fucking die. Just so the movie would be over with.
Yeah.
Cut to funeral, fade to black, fuck it, we're out.
I didn't hate it that much. I did like Bicentennial Man, though.
Okay.
Which was Robin Williams as the robot that gets cornered.
Oh, right.
That was pretty cool. It was Pinocchio, modern day Italian Pinocchio. Number 7, one of the oldest, longest running directors on this list is Robert Zemeckis.
Yeah. Robert's. I had Back to the Future, Romancing the Stone, Roger Rabbit. Death Becomes Her was really funny. Forrest Gump.
One of my favorite films of all time is Forrest
Gump. Castaway. The guy has done just so many excellent movies.
All the way back to the 70s with the Beatles and I Want to Hold Your Hand.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's one of the Beatles films, isn't it? Or is it just that this is one of their songs and I'm thinking it's Used Cars. Ooh. With what's his face?
That fucking guy.
Goldie Hawn's old man. Snake Plissken.
Okay. Damn it! Now I'm gonna flake his name.
Kurt Russell.
Yes, Kurt Russell.
I'm pretty sure that's a Kurt Russell vehicle.
Okay.
Not intended.
If so, it's been so long.
We'll click it real quick. Just click it. Break that fourth wall. Yeah, Kurt Russell.
Yep.
Yeah, awesome film. I thought that was the one. Now I was thinking, maybe I'm thinking of Taxi Driver or Car Wash. Maybe I'm just getting really confused.
Yeah, all right. Oh, maybe it was DC Cab.
One of the guys that I was surprised was on here was David Yates.
I didn't even recognize the name when you read it off to me.
It's because he's on here for Harry Potter.
Yeah, looking at his filmography, he's got a handful of short films, a couple of TV show episodes. But yeah, the most recognizable thing he did was Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter, Harry Potter.
Yeah.
And I don't think people went to that movie because he directed it. They went to that movie because it was a Harry Potter movie.
No.
His direction didn't have a lot to do with it.
And his first Harry Potter film, The Order of the Phoenix, was so boring. It turned me off of wanting to see the other ones.
I actually, yeah, I'm in the same boat. I wasn't into Harry Potter in the first place, and the girl I was dating at the time was like, oh, Harry Potter, we gotta go to Harry Potter, because I ended up seeing the first 2 or 3 of those movies under duress.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the rest of it goes, I haven't seen them. People say great things about those movies, but I just haven't watched them.
Goblet of Fire was really cool. The first 2 were okay. Goblet of Fire was really cool, though. I mean, it had a dragon. And you know how much I love dragons.
Yeah, no, because I sat through Maleficent with you.
So, yeah, I mean, it's... but Order of the Phoenix, I was, like, super amped for because it was the one after Goblet of Fire. I was like, yes, so the last one was so cool. And then I'm watching it, I'm like watching it, it was like you and Stepmom. Just like, is this ever going to fucking end?
It's like watching a Nolan film.
Yeah. Spoiler alert. We'll talk more about that soon.
Yeah, no, Christopher Nolan's coming up. Christopher Nolan's next, I think.
Number 5 is Christopher Nolan, famous for the Batman films.
Yeah, and
the boring, overly long, never-ending Batman films.
Dark Knight Rises to me was like 3/4 of a good movie, but it was kind of boring. It was the origin story again, and it dragged and it dragged and it dragged. And
I don't want to take away from The Dark Knight.
The Dark Knight, awesome movie. Absolutely excellent. Loved it, but also long as fuck.
Yeah.
Go ahead and tell them your theory about that movie.
They could have stopped the movie when Two-Face turns over and goes, "Call me Two-Face." Stop the film right there. And then your next film is Two-Face and the Joker and Batman having their big battle. Having their big face-off. Pun not intended. But, it went in and then it got to the, "No, call me Two-Face," and then it was another hour of just Joker escaped from prison. Oh, Joker's back in prison. Nobody knows what's going on. Two-Face is a bad guy. Two-Face is a good guy. Convolution.
Yeah, no, The Dark Knight could have been a Joker movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then, instead of that shitty Bane flick we got, he could have taken Two-Face and done an entire movie out of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I loved Two-Face in that movie. And I loved the Joker. And those should have been 2 standalone films.
Mm-hmm.
You could have gotten 90 or 100 minutes out of each of those villains, and they would have been gems.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute gems, because you could have expanded further on Two-Face and gotten 2 great movies out of it instead of this uncomfortable thing where you're hitting the 2-hour mark and you're squirming around in your seat, and as much as it's a good movie, your ass cheeks are falling asleep, and it's oh, come on, let's just get to the end of the fucking thing, come on.
And it was like anticlimactic to a large degree.
Like the very end where Two-Face dies.
He dies, and
he has to take the burden for us, or whatever the fuck
and
Gordon says at the end.
Like I said, it got kind of convoluted and unnecessarily long.
Yeah.
Christopher Nolan film that I do love is Memento, and you had never seen it, but I loaned it to you. It's the one where the guy can't remember anything past when he goes to sleep.
Yeah, that was really fucked up.
And he keeps leaving himself messages,
notes
and
tattoos, stuff, and yeah.
Don't trust so and so.
Yeah.
Yeah. With Joey Pantaleone.
Yeah. And
I can't remember who the main character was. But yeah.
No, it's been a while, but yeah, that was really good.
That was a super cool movie. I think most of the problem he has is when he's working with the writer who wrote the Batman films.
Mm-hmm.
Because he also wrote Inception, and I don't know if he wrote The Prestige. I actually kind of like The Prestige too. A little bit long in the tooth, but it was a pretty decent film.
Yeah.
Batman Begins, like you said, it was an origin film.
And we've seen Batman's origin 600 goddamn times already. Everybody knows. People who do not give a good goddamn about Batman know his origin.
Yeah.
You know, you don't need to do it. That's probably the biggest bitch I've got about superhero movies these days is we know the origin. We don't need to go over it again. You know, new Spider-Man franchise, we got it. Uncle Ben died. Peter feels guilty. Now he's Spider-Man. With great power comes great responsibility. Let's get to the fucking story.
Mm-hmm. But the Batman Begins was so boring that I cannot get Jolene to watch The Dark Knight or Dark Knight Rises.
Huh.
She's
yeah, but you shouldn't hurt her with Dark Knight Rises. No, that's spousal abuse. Bad Derek.
Number 4 is a director that I had the pleasure of interviewing a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Michael Bay.
It was scintillating.
Michael Bay is obviously known for a ton of stuff. Transformers, Armageddon, Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, and
The Transformers, The Rock, which was fantastic.
And I liked Pain and Gain. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have not yet seen it.
It was good. It was actually a break from the normal Michael Bay fare. I mean, there was actually a story that I was kind of interested in, and there weren't a ton of explosions. I mean, there was some action. I mean, it was a couple of muscleheads kidnapping a guy. You know, so there was action, but it wasn't really over the top, and it wasn't the thing that dominated the movie.
Well, he's got a lot of guilty pleasure films.
Yeah.
Bad Boys 2.
Yeah.
Armageddon.
Yeah.
For me, is a huge guilty pleasure.
It is. I do not hate Armageddon. I mean, scientifically, it's completely off base and utterly stupid, but it's a fun watch.
Mm-hmm. Oh, there's popcorn all over the place.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't hate Michael Bay.
But it's fun to make fun of him.
But yeah.
And frankly, there's a lot of his stuff that's just big budgets, floaty fest.
I really wish that they would put somebody new in charge of Transformers, though, and just let them do a G1 film.
Yeah.
A G1 Transformers film would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Number 3, another guy who is a bit long in the tooth for me is James Cameron.
Well, long in the tooth, and much like Michael Bay's got a tendency to let special effects dominate a movie in favor of the story. And story tends to suffer in some of his movies because it's a big wow fest. Avatar. I hated Avatar. I will admit that it was really colorful and like visually it was stunning to watch.
But it was a gimmick.
The
reason why it made its money is because it was a gimmick.
It was Planet Rave. And it's just it was showing off the computer graphics.
And I think the reason why Titanic made its money is because of Leonardo DiCaprio and all the little 14-year-old girls going, yo.
Yeah, I went to Titanic to watch that boat sink. That was it. That was one of the few movies I've gone to because I wanted to see the visual spectacle of it.
So you waited until an hour and a half after it started, and then you bought your ticket and went in. They were like, it's been running for an hour and a half. And you're like, no, I'm just here for the boat.
Yeah. That would have been the wiser move on my part. The theater manager came in and gave a speech before the movie about what a historically significant film this was. Like, it's on par with all of the great classics. I'm serious. And this guy was my choir teacher in high school.
Please tell me somebody walked up to the front and smacked him.
No, we sat politely through the whole speech and then watched the movie.
I don't even know how historically accurate it was. Obviously, the main characters are not historical figures.
Yeah,
I think they're completely fictional.
But when they mentioned Wisconsin, everybody marked out in the theater. There was just like this huge nerd pop. Wisconsin, we're from there! Woo!
Oh,
I fucking hated when people do that shit.
James Cameron has made some of my favorite movies.
Okay.
But he hasn't made any movies that I've enjoyed since True Lies.
Yeah, True Lies, the first two Terminator films, The Abyss, Aliens
and Terminator, the two Terminator films, are amongst my favorite films.
Yeah.
I even enjoyed Piranha Part 2: The Spawning.
All right.
I did enjoy The Abyss, and I enjoyed True Lies.
Yeah.
But after that, his big ones, you got Titanic,
Avatar.
The Dark Angel TV series. Some of the Dark Angel TV series was okay for me.
Yeah, I tried to watch it, but it didn't become appointment TV for me. So
yeah. Somebody I like a lot is number 3. It's Peter Jackson. Of course, the Lord of the Rings films.
Yeah.
He's really good at taking a story that's on paper and turning it into a fairly accurate representation on film. I enjoyed all the, because you're not a fan of the original Lord of the Rings trilogy, but you've been enjoying the Hobbit films.
Yeah, and it was much the same way with the books. I lay that at the feet of Tolkien, because if you've seen Clerks 2, the contention in there is pretty much accurate for me.
Yeah,
they're very long-winded, boring movies about walking with interspersed action here and there. And I couldn't grind my way through those books in fucking junior high.
No matter how much D&D you were playing at the time.
Yeah, but I read the Hobbit books, and I was like, yeah, that's pretty good. Those are all right, But when it came around to the Lord of the Rings, man, I could not fight my way through it. It just bored the dog shit out of me.
Yeah, I get that. There's especially in the Fellowship. There's the area with Tom Bombadil where it just goes on and drones on and on and on. It's just singing and singing and singing, and you just want him to stop.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of people actually stop when somebody gets turned off, and if they're going to get turned off, that's the point when they usually get turned off.
Yeah.
And it's fairly early in the book. The Hobbit, on the other hand, is a shorter book, written for children. Very simple and easy to get into.
Yeah. And maybe part of it's because I was in junior high. But, on the other hand, at the same time, I read other books that were similar to that. I read Dennis McKiernan's Iron Tower trilogy at that time, and just tore through them. You know,
Yeah.
it's not as though that sort of setting is
The
something-
Dragonlance stories as well.
Yeah, well, just like all of the D&D stuff, especially. Yeah, no, I'm suddenly forgetting the name of the separate franchise.
Hickman
and Weiss wrote them, but Dragonlance, the
Yeah.
Dragonlance setting, I really liked.
Yeah, mostly for Kinder Gnomes.
Well, the Tinker Gnomes were great. The treatment of the dwarfs was really good, and you know how I feel about dwarves.
Mm-hmm.
So it's it was all very interesting. Enough of a twist on the classics, but still close enough to source material.
Mm-hmm. He also did a couple of horror films.
You're giggling because you're thinking about me trying to date a dwarf, aren't you?
No, I'm picturing you just pausing the screen for a little bit with a little sign that says "Dwarf Lover" underneath you, and it goes ding when it appears.
All right, that's gonna happen.
Frighteners and Dead Alive. Dead Alive was a much more serious horror film than the Frighteners.
Yeah, I never saw Dead Alive.
It was creepy. I watched it on HBO when I was young.
Yeah.
Actually, it came out. Didn't that come out 92?
Yeah.
So
I not that little.
I guess I wasn't
that
young.
Teenager.
I was 19. 20 years old. So.
Hey, you just dated yourself. Good job.
Yes, thank you. The Frighteners had Michael J. Fox in it. And it was a funnier film.
Yeah, I think I've seen that. But it's been a long time. 96.
So yeah, Peter Jackson's done some good stuff. That was number 2, and then
number 1, King of the Hill, the man himself, Steven fucking Spielberg, and that's his middle name.
And yeah, he blew everybody. He's blown everybody out of the water so far. But how can that even be slightly shocking? He's done so many good fucking movies.
Right.
We could list the movies, but we'd be here for another half hour.
Yeah.
Of course, my favorites being the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Yeah.
If you're talking about adventure films, the Indiana Jones trilogy.
Yeah, no, that's the roadmap for adventure films.
Yeah,
that's the blueprint.
But it's not all he's ever done. You got Jaws, Schindler's List, Saving Private Ryan,
Munich, which I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Color Purple.
Oh, geez, yeah. Amazing Stories. You remember that show?
Yeah.
God, I love that show.
1941, John Belushi.
E.T.
Just a fantastic director. Amazingly talented.
Wow, he did an episode of Columbo.
Yeah.
Nice.
Did he do Fiddler on the Roof? That was Spielberg, wasn't it?
I didn't see it.
Maybe I'm wrong.
It's possible, but we can move on.
Yeah. So yeah, number 1, deservedly so. Just an amazing director. Yeah.
Sorry, that's his producer credits.
So, is there anything else you want to say on Spielberg?
No, that. What else is there to say? I mean, the guy's brilliant. He's done so much amazing stuff over the years.
Yeah, it's hard.
And there's not a lot that he really stumbled on.
No, I mean he's had a couple of films, but nothing terrible. Well, Crystal Skull.
Yeah. But he's getting older. You know, a little adult.
But yeah. So I guess that's about our half hour.
All right. Well,
honored top 10 grossing movie directors of all time.
All right. So
as of now,
thanks for watching. I'm Mike.
I'm Derek,
and we'll see you next week.
Bye bye.
Later.